So in the last video clip, we were talking about the site constraints. So the site constraints in the site constraints we can say that the site controls, layout, and equipment should be done in such a way that the site should be accessible for loading equipment. The queuing area for waiting trucks that will not disturb street traffic patterns, a concern particularly with the concrete ready-mix trucks, where trucks need to follow each other closely to avoid interrupting the concrete pour. So site constraints are not only just specific for the small construction sites. Large construction sites also have some site constraints. So the factors which needs to be considered are temporary fencing. So actually in the large sites, uh, a too large site may be inefficient and costly. So this may be one of the situation. So for that purpose, I think in the large construction sites, the cost of fencing may be quite appreciable, and the cost of uh, constructing the haul roads should be also considered. The cost of constructing and maintaining haul roads on the site, the climatic conditions should be considered during the project in relation to the soil, gravel, or other material used on the haul road. Mud, dust, irregular frozen ground, and snow are factors that prevent normal truck transportation from using haul roads. So the haul roads need to be constructed and maintained to be passable when needed. Uh, Extra equipment needed. Distant storage areas may require additional lifting and transportation equipment. So with this discussion of the site constraints, now we can consider the elements of job site layout plan. The job site layout plan has a number of elements, many of which have been discussed to some extent. Then in this section, we describe some of these job site layout plan elements. So the first element is the material storage or layout areas. So certain guidelines can be followed. So material, for example, eliminate the storage needed. Storage needed. Use the construction schedule to help determine the amount of materials stored at different intervals, so the storage area can be used for several different materials. Make sure that the adequate access is provided to the storage area for delivery and removal. And also be sure the surface of the storage area is compact and solid. If an open air storage provide adequate drainage. Paved areas allow for good storage as they are stable and easily accessed. Parking lots paved early in the project may provide good storage areas. However, some repair or a seal coat on the paving may be needed from time to time. A material must be on skids and pallets to prevent moisture from entering the material from the ground surface. The weather sensitive material should be protected. Tarps, temporary shelters, and other means may be necessary to protect the materials from rain, snow, ice, wind, and sun. And parts of the structure may be used for storage of materials. Storage within the structure is always limited, thus the material stored in the buildings should be that which will be used in the particular area, that which is weather sensitive and that which requires high security. Uh, Temporary storage units are often used on the job site. So these include mobile home type trailers designed for storage, 40-foot transit vans, uh, containerized storage units, and job built storage buildings. So when determining the uh, material storage on the job site, always consider the needs of the subcontractors, as the majority of the material is supplied by them. Okay, so now let's consider some of the elements of the uh, temporary facilities. So one of those temporary facilities are the job site offices. So what are the functions of the job site offices? The job site office work as a number of functions. So for example, the superintendent, it is actually a kind of like superintendent's headquarter and office. This is where the superintendent and field management personnel such as field engineers offices are located. It is a place of business for the contractor. This is where visitors, salespersons, architects, owners, representatives, subcontractors, and direct labor enter the job site to establish contact with the appropriate management personnel. Uh, the location of telephone and fax facilities. It is a contractor's telephone and fax machines are usually in the job site office. It is also a location for the full and current set of construction documents, including addenda and changes. Most contract documents require that the contractor keep a complete and updated set of documents at the job site. It is also the location of the record drawings or as-built drawings, which show the actual dimensions and locations of the project as constructed. And it's the location of uh, uh, first aid information and equipment. Emergency phone numbers must be posted in the prominent location with the job site address and location. It is also the location of the posters and information for employees. All employees' information, such as safety posters and posters from the state and federal agencies, information informing the employees of certain rights and obligations, and statements of company policy should be posted at the special bulletin board. So now these were some brief functions of the job sites. There are some attributes of the job sites. A list of attributes and the equipment commonly found in the job site includes the following. So a job site must be lockable and secure. Today's job site offices contain valuable equipment such as computers, printers, plotters, copiers, and fax machines. Other valuable equipment used on the job site, such as surveying equipment and construction lasers, are often stored in the job site offices as well. So, therefore, many contractors install security systems in the job site offices, as this is a frequent target of burglaries. Uh, it must have the adequate desk space for the permanent job site management staff. Considerations that might be made when determining the size of the job site office include the following. Uh, so the adequate workspace should be for these staff such as superintendent, office manager, field engineers, and foremen. Uh, then internet connections should be available on the job site. An appropriate internet connection uh, needs to be provided. If the site is using mobile devices, Wi-Fi needs to be provided through the site. If, for example, BIM, Building Information Modeling, is active at the job site, facilities for the necessary computer hardware needs to be provided as well. There should be a space for a plan table with access for architects, owners, representatives, and subcontractors. A rack should be included with all the pertinent contract and shop drawings. An area should be provided for the project manual and current approved submittals. A window view with a direct view of the job site is desirable. This is not always possible, but field management personnel needs to be in touch, even if only visually, with the project. Wall space for the project schedule. A schedule that is used by the contractor usually is very visible and accessible in the job site offices. Updates and changes normally are posted on the schedule. The more readable and accessible the schedule is in the job site office, the more it is used as a tool to manage the project. The adequate environmental features should be provided, and also the conference space if necessary, and the storage space should be also provided. In the environmental features, such as which need the heat or air conditioning depending on the climate of the job site locations, these features should be also provided. Okay, now let's consider some the types of job site offices. The type of job site office depends on a number of factors, such as the cost, job site space, and availability. So, the cost of the job site facility must be within the budget established by the estimate. The space available at the job site will substantially affect the type of job site office. So, tight space at the job site may force the contractor to find nearby office. A small trailer may be the most acceptable office because of the job site limitations, despite the fact that more office space would be desirable. So the project needs are considered in the estimate when estimating a budget. So the monthly cost of the office facility and the anticipated duration of the project are used to establish budget amounts. The availability of adequate job site office facilities in the locality also will help determine the type of the office facility used. If the job site space is tight or unavailable, the contractor may wish to rent a nearby building, warehouse, or office facility. If these are not available, the contractor must consider utilizing the structure itself in the way as the job site office. So the common job site office facilities include the following. Existing buildings. Existing buildings near the job site uh, can make good job site offices. Warehouses, office buildings, houses, and other types of structures can be used. So these off-site offices must be adjacent or very close to the job site to avoid wasted travel time. Usually these facilities are rented on a short-term basis. Modular office units. So numerous modular portable units that are manufactured specifically for the temporary offices are available in every size, configuration, and feature. There is, of course, a wide quality range also available. We will be continuing this lecture in the next video clip.